What's here, y'all? Welcome back to Right at the Wire. We're going to New York this weekend as Aqueduct has a really nice slate of stakes races for their Saturday card, including the Cigar Mile and the Remsen, which we will certainly be featuring later on. But right now, we're going to talk about the Demoiselle, which is the fillies version of the Remsen. It's the third race, kind of dubious to me why they would put this as the third race on the card and not just give us an all stakes pick five. Note to Naira about that. But anyway, we have to deal with it. That's what it is. I don't know what the weather's going to be like on Saturday. The forecast is for snow in the morning. So you could have another type of situation like you had at Aqueduct earlier in the week. I'm not sure weather was necessarily the cause of the cancellation of the card, but we do have to keep that in mind. Nonetheless, it's the third race on the card. It's running a mile and an eighth for 2-year-old fillies, and we do have to remember at Aqueduct, very similar to Gulfstream, because it's a mile and an eighth, it basically starts on a turn. So those horses to the inside with speed can have a bit of an advantage. Now we don't have a big field here, so I don't necessarily think there's much to be gained by being to the inside, but we do have our likely speed of the speed in the two hole, and that is Shilling. Now, Shilling is a bit of a quandary to me in that one of the things that you guys know who have seen my posts around the Derby Trail, I love to see progression in 2 and 3 year olds. Namely, I like to see the class rating increase as the race rating increases. And for each race progressively. And Schilling has that, has been getting better class rating wise as the competition has been getting better. So the race rating for her three races has increased each time. I believe it's 110, 111, 112 race rating for those of you who use Brisnet. And her class rating, or no, it was like 110, 111, and then 115 for the Tempted, the stakes race. And her class ratings were like 116, 117, 118. So you see a progression in both, and that's exactly what you want to see. The Tempted, she really didn't have much of a bother, did she? I mean, if you watch that replay, I believe Chicane was the favorite, and she made her move at the top of the stretch and just could not get to Schilling. Schilling just denied her. I think Chicane ran fine. It wasn't like she just flattened out and died. It was just Schilling was the better horse. So that certainly is all promising, and really given the nature of this field, I think Schilling is a very good bet to take them all the way. In this one, it is a mile and an eighth. It is extending to 2 turns, which Schilling has yet to do. No, most of these have not, with the exception of jumping the gun, and concurrently if you count the turf race. But so, I mean, she's the only one who's showing the steady progression over 3 starts. One problem I do have is I noticed in all 3 starts, the pace fractions are getting slower in each. Now, it's not a surprise because the distances is going up, but it is something to keep in mind is that maybe, her leads are getting a little easier because she hasn't been pressed. Now, in this field, I don't know that there's anybody, with the exception of maybe zany or believable, who's really going to press Schilling out of the gate. I'm going to guess Zany is because she's lightly raced, and it's very unusual. This is definitely a Mike Rapoli call with Zany because there's no way Todd Pletcher would send a horse from 6.5 furlongs to a mile and an eighth. He just wouldn't do it. I don't think he would. So I think Mike is just like, hey, it's a stakes race. Let's throw her in there. I don't know. Anyway, Zany's got no chance in this race. Not enough bottom. So I think Schilling, given the nature, most of the other runners here have been coming from off the pace and, doing so where you can't get real excited, where they have that explosion, that explosive late kick that they just blow right by the field. And you look speed figure wise, I mean, Schilling, if she takes another vault forward off the bench, that she may be awful tough to catch. So I like Schilling kind of by default. I'm not going to say it's a lock cinch, but I just think the race shape may set up for her the best to run her race and take them all the way. Believable is another one from Mike Rapoli. This one has a couple of starts and that didn't run didn't run too badly in the tempted against Schilling, but the speed figure was a little light. However, I think an $850,000 horse certainly merits consideration with a two-turn pedigree all day long, and I think certainly with a couple of starts, this third one, believable, certainly could make a leap forward around two turns, and I think is one definitely you want to use and would be my second choice in this race. Jumping the Gun is the most experienced of the fillies in here and has run around two turns. But I'll tell you, that last race, I didn't like it at all. It was much the same as Universe, the race that he had run in before the Jockey Club this last weekend. Now, Universe did finish second, but in the race prior, leading up to that, he had every chance to win that race, and he just couldn't do it. Well, Jumping the Gun was a pretty big favorite at Delaware. Got to the top of the stretch, he made his move, and the horse in first place basically just said, so what? And never stopped running, and Jumping the Gun just sort of idled. And you can't like that when you see a horse has every chance to win. Now you're stepping up in class. Two turns, obviously, I don't think is going to be a problem for Jumping the Gun, but I do worry about that finish. And I'm just not sure that this one has enough, so I'm thinking more for underneath for Jumping the Gun. Concurrently for Chad Brown makes an awful lot of sense. Flavian Pratt is just on fire at Aqueduct. Chad is having a great meet as well. Seth Claremon's his major client. The pedigree screams two turns. Won the last race, excuse me, pretty well. But I'll tell you, the lead was shrinking in the stretch, and I wonder if the horse who was closing the gap has seconitis or something, because seemingly had enough to get by concurrently and then just kind of didn't. And that's a horse usually, when you see that, that's that herd mentality we've talked about before. So I do wonder about that. However, concurrently certainly makes a lot of sense here. All the, everything but a little faster speed figure. But is that certainly something that could happen here? Yes. And concurrently, the odds are going to be really short, but concurrently certainly is one that you want to think about for this race. It is, to me, like I said, it's more the race shape and just wondering if there's any horse who's going to come and get Schilling sufficiently to soften her up. And that's kind of my big concern here. But they are 2-year-olds. Concurrently and or believable could both take a move forward. I'm not so sure about Jumping the Gun. I think we know what we have there. So it's an intriguing race. So again, by default, we'll take Schilling. Look at our wagering strategy. I'm imagining Schilling is going to be a pretty short price, having just won the Tempted. So we'll bet believable with a value play there. Our exactas are going to be 2-6 and 6-2. I don't know that I want to do a whole lot more than that. It's a small field and it's early in the race card. It's not something I want to go all in for, particularly a race like this. Trifecta, we'll do 2-6, 2-6 with 1-4, and then 2-6 with 1-4 with 2-6, and leave it at that. I think it's, excuse me, it's an intriguing race to see who's going to take that move forward. That's really what I think this race is all about, as it is with the Remsen and 2-year-old races late in the year. You're just looking to see who's taking that step forward to move on to the Oaks and Derby Trail. So Schilling is the pick, but I do think this is a race you certainly want to see him in the paddock, and you want to get you hear what Maggie has to say about them, because being 2-year-olds, anything can happen. It's just one of those types of races. Hope our analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy, and I wish you the best of luck as always. And certainly, if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe. And thanks to all of you who continue to support us throughout the year and onward towards the Derby Trail in January. We're going to have more coverage from Aqueduct. We will have individual posts on the Cigar Mile and the Remsen, and we will have a late pick five sequence available to you as well. So stay tuned for all of that. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.